Would a Garrett Crochet type deal be enough to pry Hunter Brown away from the Astros? He's not Skubal or Skeens, but who else is? Brown could be the young, controllable ace to pair with Nolan McLean at the top of the rotation. Would Sproat, Williams, Reimer, and Santucci be enough to get a deal done? What do you think of this, Joe?
Well, I will say let's add them to the list because I think we're putting together a list of potential available starters through trade. The Astros don't feel like a team that are ready to trade a guy a couple years out from free agency,
Yeah.
Which Hunter Brown is. They're still a team that's trying to contend. They still have Jose Altuve. They brought Carlos Correa back. They have Yordan Alvarez. They have pieces in the bullpen. The Astros don't stand out to me as a team that's ready to
No.
sell. But sure, if Hunter Brown is available, I'm calling. He is disgusting. I think he'd fit right near the top part of the Mets rotation. As far as is that enough? Maybe not. Honestly, with 2 years of control,
3.
Yeah, is it 3? I thought he had
Yeah.
2 more. Okay, so it's 3 years of control.
That's why I don't think he'll ever be available this offseason personally, but
yeah,
he's a free agent in 2029.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. A little longer than I thought. I thought it was 2 years. But either way, there's a lot of time left for Hunter Brown and the Astros to try. I would, maybe keep this in mind for a couple of years from now. And maybe he's heading into his walk year and you call the Astros and see if you can make a deal there. But this, to me, that feels like as good as I think those prospects are, I don't think it's good enough to pull in something like that. Because that's really like trading, Jet, I had number 1. Sproat, I had 5. Reimer, I had 7 or 8. And Santucci, I think I had 10. So that's 4 top 10 prospects in a top system. So that's valuable. But you're also, conveniently hanging on to Nolan McLean and hanging on to Jonah Tong and hanging on to Carson Benj. And I think it's going to be really tough to pull off something of this magnitude without losing multiple guys from that group that you don't want to trade.
And this might be a weird take, but my thought is because the idea here, Hunter Brown was awesome last year. I remember we were praying he'd be in a deal when the Mets were dealing with the Astros a couple of years ago, and the Astros were like hell-bent on not including him in any deal. And they were right. Shocking. Is that certain teams would pay up the insane premium because it's 3 years of team control. My take is the Mets have the odd competitive advantage that they don't need to shop in that premium aisle and go to these guys that have all this team control, but pay more in prospects. Because if they like a pitcher, but he only has 1 year of team control left, just pay him. You know what I mean? And I understand there's a thought you don't want to pay pitching, and I get it. There's a fine line there. But if you can go get a pitcher that's just as good, but it costs less prospects because he has less team control, that's not one of your issues anymore. You have more money than God right now.
Yeah.
So, and I know you have to be in, I'm not ready to have like the future CBA conversation. I don't want to entertain that yet. We'll cross that bridge when we're there. But yeah, I like the creativity of it.
Yes, for sure.
But you're like, to kind of piggyback your point, Joe, those are 4 great prospects that Ryan just said. And you're sitting there like, I don't even know if that's enough because of how much control he has left.
Yeah, I don't think so. And to your point, just generally about pitcher contracts and things like that, what David Stearns is looking for, and I know a lot of people just think David Stearns exclusively wants to just give project contracts, and that's all he wants to do. He's looking for the exception. Like, he's willing to go for that long term. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was an exception. They made a hard pursuit after Garrett Crochet, but again, we didn't know what we knew now. So, like, we just couldn't match up with Boston. I remember talking about that during our winter meeting shows last year, that if Boston was the team, if they were out on Crochet, I think the Mets could have gotten him. But once Boston threw their hat in the ring, we couldn't touch their system at that moment in time. And these things just evolve. So he's willing to go big, and it's just a matter of finding the right guy. He's not willing to just say, this is the best pitcher available this year, so let's just give him the long-term deal because he's the best that's available right now. Like Tarik Skubal, whether he's available in trade or not, and we'll talk about that over the next couple of months, I bet you the Mets are in on Tarik Skubal if he's a free agent.
Right.
So I think that's the biggest takeaway for me is I think he's looking for that exception, not necessarily just the flavor of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think he's going to be searching high and low for that this offseason. Joe and I have said it a lot. We think this is the offseason that Stearns makes some kind of trade. It's just a matter of lining up with his beliefs.